You have a copy of the book.
Yeah, I've already got a copy of the book.
Why do you want to see him speak?
Yeah, I do. I always love watching him speak.
It's an okay talk, but you've heard it.
I'm
So
not gonna
I'll see. I'll see. Maybe you put some AI in there or something.
Maybe. All right.
Hey!
Hey.
Perfect timing.
Hi.
Drinks are just
Yes.
there.
Thank you. Yeah, and tell me your name again.
My name is Krishna Panika.
Nice to meet you again, Krishna.
I know Randy through
Yes.
the Product Line Group,
Okay.
as well as David Nash,
Okay, perfect.
who took, and I follow you.
Perfect, great. Grab a chair.
He's a stalker.
I am.
All
Okay.
right. Can you hear me okay? Levels are fine? Excellent. Well, thank you all very much for coming. I'm very excited that we're doing this tonight. It is ridiculously hot out. If you made it here, congratulations. The tubes and the trains are not our friends, but it is nice and cool here, especially I'm standing on a grate. And it is blowing cold air up, and it is very, very pleasant at the moment. Anyway, we are here tonight not to talk about that, but because we've got our lovely friend Rich in town. He's going to talk about money stories. In case there is any confusion, this one is Rich. This one is Celeste.
She's back in Portugal where she lives.
Yeah. Oh.
Next time.
Next time.
You're going to lose half the audience.
It's we're putting that in the backlog.
Right. So before we bring Rich on, just a couple of words. So hello, CPO Circles is one of the hosts tonight. I am CPO Circles, along with other people who have joined. It's an evolution of community meetups that I've been hosting for years. If you are a CPO, if you know a CPO that has a place where you just want to talk to other people about the different job of helping to run a business, not just run product stuff, then it is a private community just for that. You can learn more at cpo.social. There are stickers over there, or just come talk to me. A huge, massive thank you to everyone who's been part of this. So female product lead, and Meg will come and talk about that in just a minute. A massive shout out to Clio for hosting this wonderful event tonight in their beautiful, beautiful space. And to Creation Recruitment, Jesse was supposed to be here, but the trains from Bristol were canceled. Creation Recruitment is a specialist recruiter that works with product and some other high-end tech roles. They are lovely. They are very supportive. They paid for the pizza and the drinks the pizza that is coming, the drinks that are here. So big shout out to Creation, and please do give them a call if you have any hiring needs. And lastly, thank you to you for showing up. And this doesn't happen without you guys showing up. So thank you. There's a code of conduct. There's a whole lot of words. Basically says, if you're a jerk or someone is being a jerk to you, well, if you're a jerk, you will be asked to leave. If someone is being a jerk to you, please come and talk to me, and I will ask them to leave. That's pretty much it. And Meg, do you want to talk about the female product lead for a moment?
Hi. Oh, what a lovely group. I love seeing like kind of a nice, small, intimate group. I just am going to tell you a little bit about what Female Product Lead is all about. It was started by the founder, Bex Yelland, and I'm Meg. I'm the co-founder. And we are all about inclusive product leadership. And what that means is that we want to change the face of product and tech leadership to be less cis white males and more women and other underrepresented folks in tech getting into leadership roles, but also just elevating themselves as leaders wherever they sit within those businesses, so not just at kind of the top level of leadership. And we do that through various free events. Everything that we do is free. We have them online and in person. This is one of our lovely in-person events, which is great. But we also offer mentorship program. And everything we do is, we're a not-for-profit. So we have, actually there's more than this now. This is probably like nearing 900 now, which is fun. Yes. Would love to hear from you, so do join us. This QR code right here is to join if you're interested. And I think we don't have a slide on the next event, so I'll just say what the couple of them are. Tomorrow we have an amazing event called The Truth Gap, which is about what it really means to be an ally. So it's Graham is our resident, our ally in residence at FPL, but everyone that is part of FPL is invited to be an ally, and this is just about how you really do that and what it means to really cultivate psychological safety in an organization. And the next one I'm going to call out as well because it's Parveen and she's here. So Parveen is giving us an online event on the 20th, which is called Lead Yourself First. And this is about like 3 levels of leadership impact and how that can look. And Parveen's amazing. She's a coach that works with some of our members probably as well. I think that's it from us.
Fantastic.
Welcome. Thank you.
Okay. Great. And I think that is it. And yes. Oh, so very briefly, Rich is going to talk for a little while. We'll have time for a little bit of a Q&A. We'll hang out. We'll talk to each other. And then about 8:30, 8:45, I'll start kicking people out so that the nice people here can get on with their lives. There is a pub in the park. There's one down the road. We will make a vote with our feet and decide which pub we're going to if we want to go to a pub. That's about it. So without any further ado, over to you.
Thank you. And I'm concerned about this post right here. So I have to decide where to stand so that people can either shift left, shift right. I don't want to make a political statement here, but actually I do, but I won't. So find a place. I'll try to anchor myself somewhere. And I'm on camera, I'm okay? Yeah. Okay, good. All right, so let's just jump in. Good. I brought a bunch of copies of the book to give away. I hope there's enough. If not, we'll get some more of them. Let me back up a minute. I've been doing, do we have a bio for me here? Yes, we do. Okay, good. So I've been doing products since 1988. For those of you who are younger than that, weren't born that year, that was the year electricity was discovered. 6 Silicon Valley startups, 4 of which we call good life lessons and character building, right? Because nothing else good came out. And then I did a whole series of what we call the smoke jumper chief product officer job. That's where a company forgot to have someone in charge of product, or they misplaced the last 3, or the last 3 walked away and they don't know why. They were almost all dumpster fires, but they were very educational. So I did a whole series of parachute in for a couple of quarters, try to put the fires out and hire my replacement so somebody could be long-term responsible for what happened and I could leave. Eventually I figured out that wasn't fun. And so what I do these days part-time from Lisbon is I'm a CPO coach, mostly for B2B enterprise folks, and mostly the people who are less concerned with how to build product and more concerned with how to deal with the politics and the personalities of the folks who are not on the maker side of the business, right? Which is where all this comes from. I got tired of giving this speech over and over again to the folks I coached. So here it is in a book. Let's do the obvious thing, right? Jump in with questions as we get there. Right, that's the old book from 2008. Anybody who thought that there wasn't anybody blogging about product management in 2001? No. Okay. Right. So here's the setup. If there's anybody who's ever been in a social engagement or a work thing where somebody there was going to spend 45 minutes of your life talking about something you were deeply uninterested in, right? We've all been there, right? By the way, I'm the only person who lives in the nation of Portugal who doesn't care about the World Cup, but almost everybody wants to spend a half hour of my life recapping the last thing, right? It's the person who gets you in the corner and wants to explain for 40 minutes about orcs versus elves in Dungeons and Dragons, right? It's the person who's fascinated by financial portfolio theory and whether you should go long or short on the energy market this week and has a lot to say about, insider trading and rumors and stuff. We all know those people, right? Why am I starting here? I'm starting here because when we as product folks who love what we do, who are deeply entrenched in what we do, who think the world is fascinated by what we do, it turns out that the executives on the go-to-market side of your company, can I say this in London, they don't give a fuck, okay? They don't care about product operating models. They don't believe in backlogs. They don't think tech debt is a thing, right? And so when we're reading the room about who's in the room and the conversation we're going to have, we want to not be that guy or that gal who's going to spend 47 minutes of some go-to-market executive's time explaining rice charts and Monte Carlo simulations and the difference between, early MVPs and late MVPs. They really, really don't care, right? And I would love it to be not that way, but decades of trying has taught me that it was a waste of my time, and so I'm trying to get ahead of it for everybody else. Is this obvious? Okay. Some things that we say all the time that make perfect sense when we're talking with our maker teams, designers and developers and tech writers and everybody else. We say things like this, right? Anybody ever said these words? There's no slack in the engineering plan. If you want to add something new, we have to take something else out, right? What does, and by the way, I'm enterprise B2B, right? I live in the enterprise space. What does the enterprise head of sales of my company hear when I say these words? Say it louder. Delays, yeah, even, they're sales VPs. Let's think smaller, right? You don't understand how important this deal is to me, which I get a big commission on, right? Thank you. We say, anybody ever said this? I know you brought me this thing that you think is requirements from this really big customer, which make no sense, right? And aren't logical. And so before we can figure out if this is something we can do, we have to actually go back and interview the customers and do the work, and right? Have we ever said this, right? When I say that to my CEO who comes out of the sales and marketing side of the house, what does my CEO hear? No sense of urgency, right? And this one's my favorite, right? Anybody have is there anybody at a company that has a system where somebody can fill out a form to request a feature? Okay? In the history of the planet, do you know of any instance where anybody who's filled out that form has ever gotten the thing they wanted? I don't. Now, limited time, I only have 40 years in the industry, right? When we create this system, we create the opportunity for people all over our company to hate us because they're going to go to a lot of trouble to fill out a form. And choice 1, we never read it. Choice 2, we read it and don't respond. Choice 3, we tell them we're going to put it in the backlog in position 865. And then they're going to call us every week to see if it's moved up, right? These are things that work within our context, but are deeply frustrating to the folks who believe their job is to bring money into our organization, right? So here's my first takeaway. When I explain product processes to folks who aren't interested in product processes, they all sound like excuses. In fact, they are, because they're never going to get what they want, right? And so we're busy. Actually, one of the key points from my coaching is I suggest to my CPOs that when they're talking to this side of the company, they never use the phrase product operating model. Anybody know what that means to those folks? Right? What does it mean? It means you guys think you're smarter than we are, and you get to make the decisions, and we don't close sales, right? Okay, so there's other ways to get to the problem than let me walk you through Scrum versus Kanban for a few hours, right? Okay, let's keep going. Am I in the right? We got you. Okay, good. All right, so whenever we're going to build a product, what's the first thing we want to know? What do our users care about? Okay, so anybody, and again, quick fact here, you guys may or may not know. Anybody know the likelihood that your VP of sales or chief revenue officer at your enterprise company has an advanced degree in math and physics? Okay, think small, right? So what are the things that those folks care about? Because we're going to want to talk in their language. Anybody? Don't think too hard. Money's a good answer, right? That's the theme of the day. Anybody else? Right? I'm going to start with short-term revenue. That's this quarter, right? We have to hit our number this quarter, because otherwise I don't get to be in next quarter, right? And whatever we've promised customers, if we promised them, we must deliver it regardless of whether it made sense, right? We put it in the contract. Maybe we didn't put it in the contract, right? Okay. What else do they care about? Anybody? Okay. I'm going to split B2B from B2C here for a second. If you're in the B2B enterprise space, there's 6 deals. I don't know if it's 6, 3, 11, right? There's 8 deals this quarter that are the ones we must close, and the head of sales knows it, and the CEO knows it, and the board of directors knows it, and the board of directors is polite enough to only call the CEO once a week each to ask how those 8 deals are going, right? Which means, as a product manager, I may not be able to throw my body in front of this deal, right? The question is, how do we help close the deal without all the breakage, right? If we're in the B2C space, very few of your customers in B2C have your CEO's phone number, okay? You're much more likely to have 2 million subscribers at £8 a month, right? And individually, they're not important, but the thing we worry about all day long is churn or retention, if that's the nicer word to use, right? And so in the executive suite, every week at the executive meeting, somebody is asked what our churn number was from last week. And up and to the right is a good day, and down and to the right. Anyway, those are the things they care about, and those are the things they worry about all day long and ask for reports on, and right? You know, there's another choice. What do they not care about? What's our theme for the day? Right? I'm going to tell you that none of these folks care about product processes. I'm sorry, we're in London. Processes, right? They don't care about product processes, and the more time we spend trying to explain why they're not getting the thing they want, is the more frustrated they are. My observation on limited data is that the half-life of a chief product officer job is 19 months, which might coincide with when the CEO is tired of hearing that they can't have everything they want. Which, by the way, they can't have everything they want. Let's get somebody a little more enthusiastic, right? Because the problem is that this CPO won't say yes often enough. Let's get a fresh one. Anyway, right, know your audience. Okay, so here's the other takeaway. This is from the back of the book. Do you guys know this, right? I've never convinced any executive team of anything by presenting a spreadsheet with 6 columns and 700 rows, okay? What's the takeaway? What's the vignette? Give me the simple, right? You got 7 words, move ahead. This is really important to do good science. This is really important to make good decisions. Our engineers want data, right? We're going to do real user analysis. But when we're telling it to the folks, and you'll see in a minute, who have limited capacity for maths, right? Let's know our audience, okay? So, ready to keep going? All right, I'm on a roll, I hope. All right, so I'm going to introduce the concept of money stories. Hint, these are not user stories, okay? We're not going to talk about what it does. We're not going to talk about how it works. We're not going to talk about why people want it. We're going to talk about the money, okay? And here's my rules. It's why we, but especially the executive team, should care that we do this thing. And hint, they mostly don't care about the tech, right? Swags, anybody use swags? Scientific wild ass guess, okay? One of these numbers we're gonna make up, and the other 2 we're gonna know. And we're gonna limit it to 3 numbers, and we're gonna limit it to only one operator, which is multiply, okay? And we're gonna round to the nearest digit, to the nearest leading number, because we don't wanna mistake it for science, right? And we're not going to talk about user love, and we're not going to talk about workflows with this audience in this need. Okay? We good? All right, so let's tell a few. Here's the upsell story. And I'm hoping every one of us has told the upsell story recently. And let's imagine you've got a software product and it's got 3 tiers: good, better, best, bronze, silver, gold. Anybody have a different? Right? I think basic and premium. I don't care what they're called, right? And there's this really, really, really cool feature, which if we put it in the premium version, a bunch of our folks who have the basic version are going to give us more money in order to get to the premium version to get this really cool feature, right? Have we told this story 1,000 times, right? If we're in the tiered software business, right? Notice I didn't tell you what it was, because for this audience, they don't care, right? What are we missing? Actually, let me back up. I'm going to posit that your go-to-market executive team can't hear any sentence that comes out of your mouth that doesn't include a currency symbol, okay? They can't hear tech debt, they can't hear architecture, they can't hear long-term supportability, they can't hear, right? Don't care. So we're going to have to write a sentence that includes a currency symbol. What are we missing? Okay, so let's do the maths. How many basic customers do we have? You should know, or you could look it up, right? What's the difference in price between the basic and the premium product? You should know, or you could look it up, okay? And then we're going to grab a guess, a range, and we're going to say, well, do we have any data that suggests how many of those folks might trade up? Maybe we ran some experiments, maybe we did some stuff before, maybe our UX, maybe we're actually instrumenting our application and we have some data, I don't know, right? Okay, and so it looks like this. We have 30,000 customers, I don't know your number, right? It's 90 euros a year to move up. You'll see a lot of different currency symbols, I don't care. And we're gonna grab some numbers out of the air and say, we think if we could put this really, really cool feature in, it's probably AI, right? We could get 1 to 4% of our folks to trade up, right? Only one operator, which is multiply. I actually rounded these. If you do the maths, you'll see they're uneven, but nobody in this audience is going to do the maths or care. And so we're going to say roughly 25 to 100,000 euros a year, okay? Now we get to ask a really good question. Anybody know what the really good question is? Sure. Or even, is this a big number, right? If we're a $700 billion company, we just lost our audience, right? Nobody cares. If we're a scrappy startup and we didn't even make that much last quarter, the pupils are dilated, right? We get to ask whether there's other things that we might look at that are 10 times as big, 100 times as big, right? Because maybe 25K is not worth our efforts to even size it, to even do the architecture work, right? Don't care, right? So we're now having a discussion about money and priorities in a way that doesn't talk about backlog scoring, right? Okay, is it obvious? Okay, it's now a money story because we put a currency symbol in, right? But this one's the one for tiered software subscriptions, right? So let's do the exact same exercise. It'll always be the same, but we'll change the context. Let's say you are in the consumer churn renewal business, right? You signed 600,000 folks up this quarter. You lost 200,000 of them. Whoops, right? And we just know that there's a thing we could do that would get more of them to stay, or fewer of them to leave, depending on how your folks talk about it, because it's the same thing, right? I had a great example, one of my clients, where they sent out the link to resubscribe, and it was a broken link, and nobody could subscribe, right? Likewise, when you finally got to the page, they hadn't saved your credit card or your address, okay? They were making it hard to resubscribe. Gosh, if we just fill in a bunch of things here, which are interesting to us, we could get more of our users to renew, okay? No one in the room is paying attention because, right, we haven't told the story yet. So let's tell the story, right? Well, how many accounts did we churn last month, year, whatever your unit is, right? Duh. And what did they cost us? How much was an account worth? And what's our wild guess for if you let us do these things, we could save a bunch of revenue? Okay, do I need this? Okay, I apologize. We'll do double mic on this. Okay, well, we'll put our Barry White voice on first. Okay, right? So we're gonna do the math so that we can get somebody in the room to either say, I didn't understand anything else you told me, but I want to fund this project, or I'm really reading my email on my phone right now, right? So we do the maths, 230,000 folks who canceled last year. It's $400 a year. I'm in dollars today, sorry. We think there's 1 to 4% of them that we're leaving on the floor because filling reasons that our designers explained to us a few times before we learned how to listen well, right? 1 million to 4 million. Everybody sat up, okay? And in fact, our CEO said, I still didn't understand anything you said, but if you can get me 1 to 4 million, and it's going to cost us significantly less than that, just go do it and tell me when you brought it in, right? We've cut through the I'm smarter than you. Actually, anybody ever watched Big Bang Theory? Okay, Dr. Sheldon Cooper, who was the smartest person in the room in every episode, and it always ended badly because he always needed to have everybody else understand that he was the smartest person in the room. Okay, the goal is not to be the smartest person in the room. The goal is to get to the approval for the things we need to do. Right? This would seem obvious, but our egos get in the way. All right, let's do 1 or 2 more. They're all the same, by the way. Anybody who studied maths will know they're the same. Okay. Transaction volume. So we're selling stuff. We're selling hotel nights or airline seats or clothing online or stock trades, right? Whatever it is, per unit. So the subscription doesn't work because we don't have subscriptions, and churn doesn't make sense really because maybe they don't come back, right? But there's this really new cool feature. Okay, I'm in the finance brain today. We want to trade more ETFs. If anybody knows what an ETF is, none of our users know what ETFs are. If we put a bunch of videos up that explained what ETFs were, maybe they would learn something and they would buy ETFs, right? Fill in whatever store you have, right? How many did we sell last year? What's our margin on each unit? We can look those up, or we can find somebody in the finance team to take out to lunch and be our friend, who's desperate for someone to ask the question of how much we make on each transaction, because she thinks the thing she does is most important and interesting in the world, right? And we're going to make a friend and get the right data, right? And then we're going to guess how much more we would make if we fill in your story, right? Okay, do the maths, right? We did 180 million trades last year. We made £3 a piece. They must have been pretty special because that's a lot of money, right? And we think there's some fraction here. Sorry, where'd the fraction go? £0.5 to £2 million. It's a lot or it's a little. We can compare it to something else. We're having the discussion now about what's important rather than what someone wants, right? And we're taking it from, I don't like you and you're ugly and you wear funny clothing, and therefore I'm not going to do this thing, to, I'd love to do it, but my pencil sketch tells me that it's not worth very much, and the things we're doing are worth a lot of money. And a good business decision would be to make a lot of money. So I'm going to say no unless you can come back with some more evidence that this is worth more, right? Which is, by the way, the bottom 92% of your backlog, which you were never going to do, but everybody wants to hear. The answer is no, because I can't make the numbers work, but if you can help me make the numbers work, we can try, right? That's much more respectful than I'm more important and I did the rice chart and we're going to change the weightings on the columns, right? Okay, let's keep going. Support costs, right? If we could only fix this UI bug or this one thing, and we're always complaining and whining, and we never make the case, right? And the case looks like this. Well, how many tickets did we get, and what does it cost us to service a ticket? And how many tickets would we not have to take if we fixed that stupid UI thing? Number, right? Okay, and we could even quick sort the top 10 or 20 bugs by which ones are going to pay off fastest, and then everybody's going to let us do it. Right? Okay, so whatever, 600 tickets a month, £60 a ticket, you do the maths, it doesn't matter, right? It's all the same. We good? So the point of the exercise is we're translating the work we do, which we love and care about, into the units that the people who actually allocate money care about, so we can make more of the smart decisions by bringing them into the circle of let's do the things that are more valuable in a direct way, then I think it's going to be good for customer satisfaction, right? Okay, let's keep going. So here's the other takeaway. I call it counting the digits. You guys call it estimating, right? I think in 2 minutes or less, you can take anything that comes into your stack and figure out if it's a 4-digit idea. It's worth a few thousand a month. A few thousand a year. It's a 6-digit idea. It's worth a few 100,000 a year. It's an 8-digit idea. Hint. All the 4-digit ideas are, instead of putting them in the backlog, let's just say no, right? If they can come back with a 6-digit response, or we can work it out, let's do it. But the last thing we need is 940 things in the stack that people are waiting for status on, that are never, we add things to the backlog faster than we remove things. So if it's in the middle of the backlog, it will never, ever, ever in the history of the universe get done, unless something pushes it up. So let's not leave everybody else hanging, waiting for an email from me that says that the thing they put in 2011 is finally coming off the stack, right? It's just never going to happen. So again, quick rule of thumb, you can do it on the back of a piece of paper. It's respectful, and it may clear the bottom 85% of your backlog into, we might have some other reason to do it, but yours isn't the one, right? We good? Is this obvious? This is how executives make decisions. They tell vignettes. They have little stories. Your CEO gets a call from one customer who has one opinion, which is, by the way, completely wrong, right? And blows up your roadmap every 2 days, right? The answer is, I, as somebody on the product side, want you to be able to retire to Fiji 2 years earlier if you would just let us do the right things and let us make money for you, or you can help us. Your choice. Let's keep going. All right, so shift the conversation. The situation here, you're building a platform, right? It's a 6-month project. You're 18 months into it because it's a platform, right? And there's some big deal, and the head of sales wants to borrow your platform team for a little while to do whatever the big deal needed. We all had this discussion how many times, right? Okay, so, and normally we would say something like this. Yeah. If you take away my platform team for a quarter, my platform's going to be a quarter late. Not a complete sentence. Didn't get anybody's attention. What does the team get told to do, right? Instead, let's imagine we had the conversation when we agreed to do the platform. And we said, well, you know what? We all think this is a $10 to $25 million a year platform. If you would just let us finish it, thank you. So we get to say something else. We say, well, you all forgot, amnesia, right? You all forgot, but this is a $10 to $25 million opportunity. And so if you take my team away for a quarter, do the quick maths, right? I think we're leaving 3 to 6 million on the floor. So now I work for you, CEO, and if you tell me this is worth a lot more than 3 to 6 million, we're going to go do it, okay? But that 200,000 deal, which by the way is really going to be 100,000 and is going to be late and this isn't going to help close it, I think that's a bad business decision instead of I'm a grumpy product person who doesn't want you to blow up my roadmap or do anything I didn't agree to, okay? One of those wins, one of those makes you feel good. Okay, good. Let's keep going. So notice the difference here. This is how the big kids play. In my coaching, we say, when you use the word politics, it's because you're not good at it. Okay? There's a lot of other words we use when you're getting shit done. Okay, so last thing, earning our keep. A little bit of maths here, right? So I don't know what your development team costs. Let's pretend it's £1 million a year, right? Doesn't matter. It's a small fraction of your company if it's a big company. Usually there's about 1 person in 6 who actually works on building product, the maker side, right? Which means we have to carry the other 5, 6 of the company on our back. We have to bring in 6 times as much, or whatever your number is, revenue. We can't just break even on our team. We have to make money for the company so everybody gets paid, right? Again, your friend in finance that you just took out to lunch knows this number. Go find out what it is. It might be 8, it might be 5, right? So your product has to actually earn. If you don't earn, stop that. If you don't earn, your product and your team are subject to summary execution. Okay, your CFO is going to come in and say, we're missing our number this quarter, which products aren't earning their keep, right? And it's not to 6 decimal places, right? It's about trust, right? Do they trust? Here's the question that they're really asking. Do we trust you to have you and your team spend the money we give you on good stuff and bring in money? Yes or no? If no, we'll micromanage you within an inch of your life until you quit, right? Or just work you out. In the US, they would just let you go. Here there's laws, right? So what's your annual product revenue? You should know, or you can look it up, right? What's an average technical person on your organization cost? Go ask HR. You don't have to be accurate. How many people on your team? 6, 9, you should probably know. Multiply, divide, right? And so you get to say, we're bringing in 18 million a year, and we're only spending whatever. We're bringing in 9x. So thank you very much for your input. But we really appreciate the chance to make more money for you. So in fact, if you give us 5 extra headcount, right, instead of take 5 away. This is how the big kids talk, right? And if you're a head of product, you're either in the room or you're not, right? That's the old thing. You're either, you know, I forget. You're the meal, or there's a thing here. Forget. It doesn't matter. Okay. So last thing. Let's talk about roadmaps. We all have roadmaps, right? Now, next, later. Somebody here in London, right? Anyway. Okay. So roadmap amnesia, right? Every member of the go-to-market side of your executive team has roadmap amnesia. Does anybody know what causes roadmap amnesia? Don't think too hard. Sorry? Apathy. No. It's not they don't care. Anxiety. No. It's any call from any customer who wants anything that's not on the roadmap. Okay? And their immediate thought is, it can't be that hard. It's probably only 10 lines of code. AI can probably do it in an hour. It's just a day for the team, right? And there must be room on the roadmap because I need it. Okay? It's like trying to convince your 5-year-old that sweets and desserts and cookies should happen at the end of the meal, right? This is not a rational process, and they forgot everything you told them on Monday because it's Wednesday, right? So expect it because it happens all the time. The other one is roadmaps as we construct them, get everybody to ask the when question instead of the why do we care question, right? You put up a bunch of boxes and everybody says, oh, okay, are we going to deliver them on time? Answer no, by the way. Okay, so let's look at a roadmap. And this was the folks I talked to before who had the renewals problem, right? There's a bunch of things they're going to do to boost renewals. I'll show you in a second. Doesn't matter what they are. And they also figured out they can raise prices, which is really cool, okay? And so there's a bunch of boxes here. We're going to simplify our renewal forms. We're going to save credit card information. We're going to autofill addresses, right? We're going to notify people, blah, 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 tech, right? And on the pricing side, we have all this stuff we have to do. We have pricing systems and SKUs, right? And this is the work, okay? And no one in your executive staff on the go-to-market side cares about any of this because we've not completed the sentence, right? So let's complete the sentence. A tiny, tiny, tiny change to the roadmap, which is we put money on the left and we said, if you let us do the things on the swim lane for boost renewals, which you don't care about, in any order that we choose, we think we can bring 1 to 3 million a year in. Okay? Now we're asking a different question, which is, when does the money arrive? And if we said, well, by the way, we've just figured out that if we swap some of these boxes around, great, go do it. We're going to take a box out and put a new box in? Okay, don't care, right? Every time we show the roadmap, they're going to ignore the boxes anyway, but they're going to look at the thing they care about. Don't show this to your customers, by the way. Okay, internal only. But notice now we've changed the entire conversation. Right? Actually, I think I have one more here. This is what they're seeing. Anybody know this one, right? There's nothing on this roadmap they're paying any attention to. They don't care what's in the boxes as long as there's numbers on the left. Okay? And this is how you get somebody to not cancel all of the work in the swim lane for something small that somebody thought in the shower this morning. Okay? We're almost done, right? So read the room, figure out your audience, what do they care about, use their language, get the right things done. This doesn't address any of the questions of what the right things are, or what our users want, or what our business model is. It addresses the noise question of why do they blow up our roadmaps every second or third day, right? Okay, let's keep going. Here's our takeaways, right? I think I said them a few times. When you're talking to the execs on that side of the business, talk about the money, talk about the outcomes, talk about the things they care about, not how we made the food in the kitchen, right? Everybody in the executive team is making up numbers. They won't tell you that. If you can get within a factor of 5 or 6, you're doing just fine, right? This is a few 100,000 versus a couple of million, okay? And by the way, given the currency exchanges, it doesn't matter which currency you're in right now, okay? We're all trained to want to do this to 3 decimal places and to be correct and precise. You're playing the wrong game, okay? Later on, you'll have to be. And then, right, when you're talking about roadmaps and ROI, think about who they're for and what they care about, because why waste their time? Okay, so I live in Portugal. There's a Portuguese phone number. I get to say obrigado, right? And I had two more things, right? One more is, there's a book that that I should have written that everybody tells me I should write, and I haven't written it yet, which is this one. Oh, sorry, I'm out of order. We're going to give books away in a sec after Q&A. They're free, because I got them from Amazon. But if you feel like making a donation in Celeste's name, she's my chief canine officer, that's the donation thing. Or if you feel like doing a selfie on LinkedIn, that's a good exchange. The books are free, so take one. I don't know how many we may have left over. The last one is, this is the book everybody wanted me to write, okay? Unfortunately, I don't know when I'm gonna write it because anyway. We can't foretell the future. I'm sorry, right? I wish we could. When somebody asks us how much money this is gonna make 2 years from now, hell if I know, okay? But we could get within a factor of 10. And that's good enough to do the things we need to do to keep folks from blowing up the plan every 45 minutes in a big company, right? And so we have to be brave enough to make some guesses, to take some dart throws, right? To swag some numbers, to reduce the chaos. Otherwise, somebody else gets to decide on even less data than we had. We're good? All right, so there's our takeaways. We're done. You want to do some Q&A? What do we do? Randy? Okay. Anybody? Go.
So, looking down at our teams for a second, if you put digits to one side, the digit point,
Yes?
how do we get people to be more comfortable just making shit up and understanding that
Right.
we've got to
Fair question. And there will be some folks on your team who are very philosophically opposed to this. But my observation, and I'm going to pick engineers for a second, developers, one of the reasons they come to work every day is not because they wanted to write more SQL statements or some MD file, right? They're actually coming to work, like our designers, because they really hope somebody's going to use our stuff and say something nice about it, and they might even make a contribution to the world, right? And this is a way to bridge this over and say, if we do this set of work, let's talk about how much impact we think it's going to have on our user base. And if we do this other set of work, same question, let's agree that we're going to do the piece of work that we think is going to have a much bigger impact on whatever, which also happens to feed the company revenue and keep their jobs, right? I think our teams are hungry to connect the work they do with why it matters, and this is part of why it matters. There'll always be a couple of folks, and they all have advanced degrees in math and physics, by the way, who will drill you on every estimate and explain you're wrong. I usually give up and say that I will take their number instead. Shuts them up. I actually think this is important. We're connecting the why does the business care with why is the tech good. And I find that the more we can do that, the more my team starts to understand what's important, not just from a tech point of view, but from they make better decisions. We make better decisions as a team if we understand the scoring system, right? And we hide it. We hide this, and we never talk about money. And so our engineers and designers have no idea. They can't connect the dots. They don't know why something's more important than something else. And so when it happens, they're frustrated. And it would be nice to say, well, this big, this big, this big is better. But if you can figure out a way to do this one really easily, I'm yours. How's that? Good. In the back, go.
His music is Joe and I work together. So
Okay.
Joe, I'm thinking exactly what our team's
All right.
Is there no side to this as well? Because for so long, product managers, product teams have been drilled to, we have to delight our customers. We have to show what we're doing. We have to show why it matters. And like you say, the people that actually get commissioned to say, yes, go do this work, only care about the money. Have we been pushing the wrong message?
I think there's a more nuanced answer than that, which is we should care about user love, and we should care about satisfaction. We should care about great design and ease of use, and we should care about data quality. But it's not the only scoreboard, right? And if we don't understand the mix, right? I think if you had 5 things in your choice set that were vaguely of similar value from a financial point of view, now you have the chance to choose the 1 or 2 which fulfill lots more of the rest of the goal, right? Because we're earning our keep, we're going to keep our jobs, we're going to keep this product alive, but we're going to make it better in lots of ways that our users will notice that our execs won't. That's good, that's great. We should fix bugs. We should especially fix bugs that are the ones that come into support a lot, right? We should fix bugs for lots of reasons, but maybe we start with the most ugly, expensive ones, right? So we do good, but we also do well, right? And the idea that this is pure one or pure the other, I think, is fiction. And so we as product folks have to speak both languages, right? We have to understand the scoring system, and we have to push for great products that really meet a need and have an audience and have, if we believe in NPS scores, have high NPS scores. I don't, but it's fine, whatever you're using, right? That bring joy, right? I'm good with that. Perfect, right? But when I go to my head of sales and I say, we need these 5 things in the roadmap because they're going to bring joy to users, the answer is no. We just got off the phone with somebody from HSBC, and they told us if we could deliver teleportation by Friday, they're going to give us a contract for 20 million more. So get on it. And by the way, I already signed the contract, and it's easy because AI is going to do it for us, right? You have to understand how the game is played, not just how we wish it were played. Good. Got maybe 1 or 2 more before the pizza? Go.
I am struggling a little bit to get on board with your one-liner.
Sure.
If I do this, this is not how much money you get. Because
Yep.
I find, and maybe that's my own rabbit holing, of like, well, I could try this new model,
Sure.
but it might actually cannibalize my another
Sure.
product or something else.
So I would love, and every organization is different, but if there's a way you can do the 1-week cheap experiment, not tell anybody in the executive suite that you figured out that it was either a really good idea or a really bad idea. If it's a really good idea, then you pitch it, right? I mean, there should be a lot of experimentation going on, and we want to find the good ones and figure out how to either get permission to do them or do them anyway without permission, rather than whatever random thing came in through whatever random channel, right? I was talking to some folks yesterday, and we figured out that most user requests are wrong for all the obvious reasons. Most requests from buyers are wrong because they just asked the users and they copied it down wrong. Most requests from sales teams are wrong because they went to the senior executive who went to the buyer, who went to the user, who all wrote it down wrong, right? I'd rather do something that might work. I don't want to put it on the board for $1 million a year if we don't have some strong belief. But that doesn't mean we don't consider it.
Yeah, so I think what I'm afraid of is going up and saying, I think that we could get this many more customers, and then an exec might say, yeah, but then more, or I don't know, like the compare one you explained. I think I can reduce the number of calls, but then that might mean that
Sure.
customers can cancel.
Sure. So we still have to do our homework, right? And if it's a bad idea or it's going to have side effects, we as product folks have to be responsible for that. But when we've gotten some consensus, when we've built a coalition, when we've asked the right questions, often we still don't get to do the things that need done. So this answers that part of the question. It doesn't answer any of the hard questions like what good is. Okay, last one in the back. And then we'll go to Krishna back there. Go ahead.
Have you seen occasions where people then try to play the game, even with money stories, by increasing their guesstimates?
Of course. Of course. We all know that if you have financial outcomes tied to metrics, everybody games the metrics, particularly, again, enterprise sales, right? So if there's a threshold that says we won't look at anything unless it's a deal over 315,000 euros a year, miraculously, all the deals come in at 320, right? But a couple of answers. One is maybe they have to sign up for the money. Okay, the other is there's usually a point of consolidation. So I would go to the head of all of sales and say, you only get 2 magic bullets this quarter. You can use them on anything you want. Here's the 18 that came in. I really encourage you to use them on the 2 that you believe are going to make us the most money, because you know, right? And then you get to retire to Fiji. Because those are people actually responsible for it, right? In the same way we go to support and we say, look, you guys sent us 940 tickets last week. we're going to fix 3 next week, and we'll choose, but if you have a suggestion for which 3, we're listening, right? Which ones are going to reduce your pain, right? It's consensus building, it's coalition building, there's no magic here, but when you put a number on it, it's a little easier to have the discussion. Good. All the way in the back, go.
Yeah, thanks, Rich. I've got to say a lot of what you say resonates. One question that sometimes comes up when talking to my CFO is provable attribution.
Yes, provable attribution is fiction. Okay, so, well,
like for some cases, new
okay,
sales,
let me be more specific. I believe in the B2C case, there may be ways we can prove attribution, right? In the B2B case, I think it's functionally impossible because there's an 18-month sales cycle and we made 22 sales calls and we gave them 14 marketing pitches and we put people on site and we went to trade shows and, right? And our CEO talked to, our board member talked to somebody on their board, right? The idea that we can attribute an atomic piece of feature, no. On the other hand, I think we can do broad streams of work, right? I think we can say, this team in these 2 quarters can do a bunch of stuff, which is small, so you don't care about it, but the overall impact is this. I think we have to. And if we don't say that, then they should just let us go, right? Make us redundant, what's the phrase here, right? If we can't explain why the thing is actually going to have an impact, even if it's hard to measure, I think they're going to believe that we can't make an impact. So, you know, we have to be a little brave and remember that the folks on the sales side are paid to be persistent and to be persuasive and to exaggerate a little bit and to tell whatever story is required to close the deal. And we're not going to go all that way, but we might go part way.
I was just going to say, I think with the levers, like if you look at the different SaaS levers, new sales, it's much easier to prove that sales expansion.
Sharon, one last thought and then we'll let it go. If you look in your CRM system, you get comments that are written by your sales team, okay? Which means they are objectively not true, okay? I've never met a salesperson who didn't take personal credit for all the deals that went well and assigned all the deals that failed either to poor product, missing features, or price problems, okay? If you look in your CRM, you'll discover that all the deals you lost were for product failures and for pricing failures, okay? It's simply not true, but the reward system leads us there. So, you know, let's think about what evidence means and think about our sources, but, you know, we're not just there to make pretty things. We're there to supply money to the company so that we get to keep our jobs and our teams get to work with us for a long time. Good, are we done?
I think so.
All right, thank you.
Rich, thank you very, very much. So we have pizza here. We've got 2 stacks of pizza. There's a stack that is, some of it is margarita, some of it's got meat on it, and then a smaller stack that is vegetarian and gluten-free. So we should